All right, everybody. Welcome to the Livewell's lunch break here at Fish North, Georgia. Today, Tuesday, December 16th. So glad you guys could join me. Today, it's been a hot minute. I see a couple of you guys out there already in the comment section. Yes, it has been too long. Let me try to see if I can find my thing here on TikTok, get them set up. There we go. All right, we are ready to go. Yeah, it's been a long time, guys. I have missed you guys. And I think it's been, I don't even think I've been on since we even had the Toys for Tots tournament. So much to discuss. But anyway, John G, glad you're there. And I see you there, Doug. It's the first time in a long time that I haven't had a lot of announcements to make before the show gets started. Other than that, I hope everybody's having a wonderful holiday season. And, what you guys been up to, you guys can let me know. What's up, Tony? Last night, Alex did a fantastic show with Kylie Short, the kayak thing. And I saw your little thing, John, about them giving you some love. Hey, look, we give you love every day because you're a good dude. Yeah, I've missed all you guys too. Like I tell everybody, this is my safe space when I get to sit behind the microphone. I talk to you guys. Life seems to slow down, and I know we've kind of been out of the loop here lately, and we'll catch up. We got to get this built back up and get it going again. Let everybody know that hey, we're still doing this, right? We are still doing this. So, seeing everybody last night on and last week doing the podcast for me, I want to say thanks to all the guys: Clint, Tony, Alex, Tim, Kevin. Everybody steps up. Dave Alders. Everybody steps up to help out here. We're one big family. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episodes last week. And got a great one for you tonight. Got Will Harkins. Many guys know that. He's been on the show quite a few times. Fished the MPFL the last few years. Won an event. Almost won Angler of the Year 2 years ago. And but he is now going to be switching over in 2026 to the MLF Pro Circuit. We're going to get into his brain as to why he made that decision, and of course, we're going to do the important stuff. We're going to figure out how everybody can catch more fish, because I know that there was some great weights at the Toys for Tots tournament. All right, some fantastic weights. The guys that know how to catch them really know how to catch them. What's up, Nathan? And Tim and I fished, and Tony had a hell of a daggone tournament. What's up, John? Tony had a great tournament, almost won it. In fact, I thought his butt did for a second there. Still got big fish. Tony and them were on it, but Tim and I kind of struggled a little bit. We caught fish. Don't get me wrong, we caught fish, but we never could find any size. What's up, Jeff? Yeah, I've missed it too, buddy. We are back. We're going to start rolling with this. I talked to some guys Sunday as well, and they struggled this weekend. Said the weights in their club tournament down. So we're going to get with Will tonight, and we're going to see if we can just pick his brain and find better ways to catch these bass. It's cold as hell outside. What's up, Tyler? So I don't know how that's been affecting the bite. Haven't been on the water. Been, of course, out of town. Also, to tonight. Now, today is going to be a long ass day. So we're going to be sitting here. What's up, Farmer? We're going to be sitting here talking today during the lunch break. But then tonight at 6 p.m., I am going to be the guest on the Deck Talk podcast. All right, I'll be joining those guys. I don't know what kind of questions they're going to ask me. I hope they brought bail money because you know what? It's not my show, so I can have some fun with it, right? But that's at 6 o'clock. I think it will air on Facebook. I think you can look up Deck Talk Podcast. I did put a pin to the Fish North Georgia group page, their kind of advertisement or whatever it is about the show. And I'm going to have some fun with it. I have actually never been a guest on another podcast. So I don't know if they're just out of their minds, don't know what they're doing. Normally they get pros on, but he hit me up about a month and a half ago and he said, "Hey, you want to be on a podcast?" I'm like, "Sure, dude, whatever." Yeah. And he hit me yesterday and he goes, "You still good to go?" And I was like, "Oh, crud. Yeah." Excuse me. So we'll do that. And last week just didn't feel right without the lunch break. I wanted to do some, but they wouldn't allow me. I was working. I'm not promiscuous with my podcast. What is Deck Talk? I listen. I don't know, dude, but just gotta check it out on Facebook. Pull them up. And Coleman, yeah, it is wedding week. Looking forward to going and seeing you, and your better half get married at the end of this week. It's gonna be fun. Tyler said Barnes last weekend had smaller weights than normal. Second place was 19.5. And for a Scott Barnes tournament, that is pretty low. Now, ain't it bad, though, when you say 19.5 is low? That just shows you how good Lake Lanier normally is. When you have 19.5 and you're like, yeah, second place, was a bad day. Because what we had 10 bags at the Toys for Tots that were over 20 pounds. 10. 10. And that's crazy to me. But that just shows you how great Lake Lanier is, right? Sunday was freezing and you couldn't get out of the wind. Let me tell you something, guys. I was in Salt Lake City all last week. Now we're talking Utah, Rocky Mountains. Should be cold, snowy, everything. It was warmer in Salt Lake City last week than it was here. All week long. It was in the 60s in the afternoon at Salt Lake City. And I will tell you this a little bit too, that is the boringest town I think I've ever traveled to. Are you going to the Classic? Yes, we are going to the Classic. We're going to cover the Classic. Patricia says Dana has been catching them spots on his hair jig. I'm telling you, he just does it right. Oh, what's up, Colin? He's on TikTok. Where can people watch the podcast tonight, Colin? If you don't mind throwing that out there so I can tell everybody. Yeah, actually, the podcast guys and maybe a few more of you select individuals. We're going to get an Airbnb up there the week of the Classic, and we are going to terrorize Knoxville. So everybody save up bail money for that. We're going to have a lot of fun. Yeah, let's see. I saw something about the cast Nova worms. I saw those. I'm just curious. I haven't put my hands on any of them, but I'm just curious as to what they will what they'll feel like. Is it the same plastic that, the echoes and all that? Like I said, I knew they were coming. Anyway, hey, listen, if you want to watch the Deck Talk podcast tonight with me on it at 6 p.m., Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, any one of those. So just go there, give them a follow and subscribe. Good guys, they follow us here. And Colin, I told him, it's your podcast, and I don't have to worry about anything. So I might get in some trouble with you guys tonight. I promise you, I'll be on my best behavior. But yeah, we're gonna go to the Classic. Now you say, how did y'all catch them? So in the Toys for Tots tournament, I caught one on a jerk bait, and that was the only jerk bait bite I got all day, and the rest were on a shaky head. Pretty much that's how we caught all our fish. We did not go very far south. We kind of stayed up in the Laurel Park area and just had fun. And I think Tim caught one or two on a rock crawler, and we like going down some rabbit holes. Dude, I live in a rabbit hole, so I hope you're ready. Bring it on, baby. That's what I say. Bring it on. We'll have fun with it. But that was it. Now, Doug says, guys, keep your immune system strong. I've been battling the flu for almost 2 weeks now, and it's kicking my ass. I've had this cough for about 2 weeks. Can't get rid of it. I don't feel bad, but I just can't get it. Now, Tony, of course, Mr. 20-something pounds at the Toys for Tots, said, well, I went back Friday after the tournament, and the bite had completely changed. Had big followers, but they wouldn't bite. They had moved all the way to the ditches where we fished at Toys for Tots. So that ditch bite's got to be getting ready to kick on for sure. Been watching the weather a lot. The Western Plains and Rockies still having some warm temps, 5 to 10 degrees above average. I was out there with Digital Sportsman, and a lot of those guys had planned on going as soon as the American Outdoor Conference was over. They were going to go to one of the resorts up there and ski. And they were worried about it not having enough snow. Now, it had some, but it did not have the normal Utah snow. And anyway, I assume they had a good time at it. My ass was ready to come home. I will tell you this. Don't ever do this. Now, I flew out on Monday. The show started Tuesday. Okay. So I flew out on Monday, got my hotel room, ordered a little Uber Eats, watched some Monday Night Football, which of course comes on at 6:00 out there. And, I was able to get in and relax a little bit. Well, we worked all day Thursday, the last day of the conference, broke down the booth and everything, got done about, I don't know, 7:30, 8:00 after 3 days of conference, got on a flight at 11:20 Utah time to come home and flew out all night Thursday night to get home. That was dumb as hell. because I can't sleep on a plane. I had a crying kid to my left, and he was okay about halfway through the flight. No comments on what I would have done to the child because he really wasn't a kid. I mean, he was a little bit older. It's not like he was a newborn baby. This kid was like 3 or 4 years old. I'm like, whatever. It is what it is. But I even have some noise canceling headphones, and I'm trying to watch Mission Impossible, and this kid's screaming. I can hear him over my headphones, and I'm like, oh yeah, want to go to sleep. Can't do none of this. Amanda picked me up at the airport at 5:20 Atlanta time. Came home, slept an hour or two, and then I had to go help my daughter. She's moving in a new house, do some work on the house. Don't ever do that overnight flight. Granted, it took me approximately 5 minutes to get through security and to my gate. Of course, Salt Lake City doesn't have a big airport. Still, don't do that. But yeah, let's see. Farmer, they were herring glued to the bottom 45, 50 foot in 2 Mile Creek. And Farmer said, I noticed a lot of bait and fish have moved deep. Alatoona, they were 50 foot deep. And Carter's, they were 80 foot deep. It's about that time of year. And lots of striper. Now, Patricia says, Welcher is leaving the NPFL. I shot Kyle Welcher a text this morning. I'm going to see if I can get him on Thursday or one of the episodes next week. We'll talk about it. I think it has a lot to do. I think it has a lot to do with schedule, right? Lots to do with the schedule. And he's got family, and nobody thinks about the travel time. And when you're fishing 2 circuits the way those guys do, I mean, hell, they're never at home during the height of the season. So I think and he may say differently, but I think it's just a quality of life issue. He's made some good money. He's doing well for himself. I think that some of them guys just want to be at home. Danny, I bought that red bug rock crawler. I haven't caught anything on it yet, but I'm gonna give it some time. It definitely digs. Listen, just keep throwing it. You get around January, February, I'm telling you that red bug is going to be absolutely fantastic. Farmer says, Tyler, they seem to be deeper earlier this year, but I haven't been out but twice in like the last 3 months. He's going on the past for sure. Tyler wants to know, why can't you sleep? The worst thing that will happen is the plane will crash. I ain't worried about plane crashing. Not worried about plane crashing at all. I'm one of those guys that I probably would dig going through it right up into the point of impact. That's just the way I am. It's just like the night before tournament. I can't sleep. Like, I'm afraid I'm going to be late. I'm afraid I'm going to miss something. I don't want to miss that snack cart coming by because, I got to get the Cheez-Its and the Coke. And, I don't want to miss that. Things like that. I don't know. Don't trust the person sitting beside me. Actually, I had great people sitting beside me. I had no problems whatsoever. It's called a red eye for a reason. Well, hell, Danny Pruitt don't do the red eye very well. I just don't do it. And, there's only so much Adderall and caffeine and nicotine a man can put in his body to make it palatable. It just, I watched a couple of Mission Impossible movies because it's not, listen, it's crazy too. The flight out there was 3 hours and 45 minutes. The flight back was 2 hours and 47 minutes. Definitely had the wind to our back pushing us. But it was the first time I'd ever seen the Rocky Mountains flying in during the daytime. Listen, I don't know how them settlers back in the day, okay? Like, I don't know how they crossed that shit. That was the most barren looking wasteland. Now, don't get me wrong, they're impressive. It's big mountains, okay? We got the Appalachians here. But it was so barren looking flying over the top of them, and I was like, man, them jokers had to cross that stuff and wagon trains and all that stuff. No way. It just looked like, it just looked bad to me. And then Salt Lake City is, I'm not lying. It's like, here are the mountains. And at the base where they stopped, there's Salt Lake City. And that big old lake in the middle of town that just is salt. There's nothing to it. Can't fish in it. It's worthless. So it was really weird to me. And again, Salt Lake City, if you're going to travel, you go to Salt Lake City so that you can go to the ski resorts. Other than that, there ain't much to do in Salt Lake City. And you definitely could tell it's Mormon country because every street was West Temple, East Temple, North Temple, Second Temple. Everybody there was extremely nice. So I had a great time. The American Outdoors Conference was pretty cool. Now, I went there with Digital Sportsman. I am the hired gun that stands outside the booth because My only superpower is my mouth. And so when people walk by, I'm the one that catches them. And then I reel them in, right? I fish for people a lot better than I fish for fish. Guy walks by with the ugliest dadgum shirt I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, dude, you're rocking that shirt, man. And he stops and I said, well, thanks, dude. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, there's no way in hell I'd wear that out in public. But it looks good on you. And then he's like, what are you guys doing? And then I talk to him, well, Digital Sportsman is a booking platform that on the back end covers every bit of everything you could ever want in your business. And I give him the little pitch and we make a hat and I get him in there and then I turn him over to the sales professionals. And it's really fun. It's a lot of people watching. But all you got to do, if you're ever in a conference or something like that, or you're working somebody's booth, all you got to do, here's the secret. You give them a compliment, just a compliment. It doesn't matter. And it can be about the most, you know, it can be about anything. Dude, where'd you get those shoes at? That's all you got to do. That's the secret. Because once you complimented somebody, now you've made a connection with them. Once you make that connection with them, it is just reeling them in, right? You just fighting them a little bit. Some pull the drag a little bit. Some are easy. You know, I don't know how many times because they were serving food throughout this conference. A guy or a gal would walk by and they got something. I'm like, boy, that looks good. Is that for me? That's all it is. You guys just got to do that. A lot of you guys got to come out of your comfort zone. Compliment people. You will reel them in every single time. But I had a great time, Digital Sportsman. And here's another thing too. Out there, what they do with the American Guide Conference is last year was in Chattanooga. This year was in Salt Lake City. Next year it's in Oklahoma City. Well, in Salt Lake City, there really wasn't that many hunting or fishing guides. Let me tell you what there were, rafting guides. I don't know how many of you guys are into big whitewater rafting. I have never done that before in my life. And I'm surrounded by all of these guides that, Grand Canyon trips, Oregon, Idaho, California, you name it. I had no idea. Well, I should have known that whitewater rafting was such a big thing. But I'm a chameleon, right? Before it was over, I was an expert on whitewater rafting. Danny, your video of the police riding that bike had me cracking up. Listen, dude. So the Salt Palace is kind of like the Orlando Conference Center. Any of these big towns that have conferences, it's huge. So I guess the Salt Lake City Police Department was there, and they were having their cop bike training. Now, what you didn't see is that went on all day long, and guys were going in and out the cones and trying to do that stuff. And I'm sitting there watching this, and I'm like, first of all, I didn't know that there was even bike training for a cop. Hell, to me, I thought either you ride a bicycle or you can't. But these guys were doing that. I got so tickled because some of them were very good. You can tell they've been on a bicycle their entire life. That poor sap you saw in that video, my Lord, he was struggling. He was absolutely struggling. But, hey, listen, you got to, if you want the job, you got to do it, right? But them guys were absolutely they were busting their ass on them bicycles. And so, when I had some time, I went and got me one of them fancy coffees, the mochas that's got the caramel and the chocolate and the milk or whatever it is with the ice in it. Real bougie coffee. And I sat there and I just sat up there and I just watched them. And I was just in there thinking, like, there is not one of those things that they're doing that I couldn't do. Now I say that having not been on a bicycle in 20-something years, but I think I could pass that course. And I just want them, do they get a certificate? I don't know, but it was real fun. So let's get back to your guys over here. So I guess you're talking about how let's see. Messick wants to know, Tyler, how do you catch those fish glued to the bottom? I seen the same thing in Clarks Hill, but I couldn't get them to bite. To which Tyler answers right here. The best thing I've found so far is a Nico or a shaky head. You got to cast at a lot of things that look like it could be something. It could be a log or it could be a fish. You just got to do it. They will come off the bottom for a crankbait, but I haven't had many bites. The ditch bite on Lanier, one of the biggest ways guys do it on Lake Lanier, they'll take an underspin or like a ditch digger, a ball head jig, something like that. They'll put a fluke or a Kitech on the back. And what they will do, this is just basic ditch fishing 101. They will start right down the middle of a ditch. If you don't know what a ditch is, basically just look at your landscape. You can kind of tell where it comes down the bottom of two valleys. And they will slow roll it. and just keep in contact with the bottom. That's the moving way. It works when they're in there. It is fun when they're biting. You definitely want to use a rod that's got a little parabolic bend because they will absolutely, you want to let the rod do a lot of work because if you got a really stiff rod and you're doing it that way, you're going to jerk it out of their mouths a lot of times. But that's pretty much the basic. Now you can go down there with a Nico, anything like that. Now what he said is true though, and we've talked about this a lot over the last few years, especially when 2D was prevalent. You can have your 2D down there and it looks like the bottom is just barren. Throw your bait down there and watch the bottom come alive. Sometimes they are so glued to the bottom you can't pick them up. And it looks like there's nothing. And then all of a sudden, boom, there's fish. Now, that was a lot of guys talked about that before forward facing sonar a lot. Forward facing changes the game a little bit. I will say this I know that LJ is really good with his 2D. And we've had him on the show a few times, and he would look at his 2D sonar, and if he saw a pixel, just a pixel or two between a mark and the bottom, he said that's a fish. He could absolutely tell. Um, I'm not that good, but that's it. Nico. I mean, again, we caught him on shaky heads. Um, I see Dana in the comments right there. He's throwing his hair jig or whatever he wants to throw, and he's catching them. Farmer said that's how he got me, guys. One compliment and been talking with him for 5 to 6 years. That's listen, made that connection, right? All you got to do is compliment people. Appreciate it, guys. Welcome me back. Um, let's see. Tony's laughing at Farmer. I did the same thing. That's how I catch all you guys. Now, Tyler said there's parts of the Grand Canyon you're not allowed to raft through. Lots of conspiracies on it, but who knows why? Really, could be safety. I will say this: that there were guys up there offering trips, 20-day float trips. And a lot of them were near the Grand Canyon and all that. I don't know who the hell's got the time to take 20 days off to go floating down a river, but after a day or two, I think you've seen enough. And you've camped enough. I guess you're bathing in the river. I don't know how it is, but 20 something day long trips. I was looking at the guys, I'm like, you know, and I love you guys. I love all you guys and I love my family and all that, but I don't know about being around the same people for 20 days straight. You know what I'm saying? Um, But yeah, Tyler, there are some conspiracy theories on the Grand Canyon. I don't know them, but I have heard those same things. And there's Dana. Now let's see. War Eagle the best. Where can I find the Toys for Tots results? The website only has the 2024 results. I think if you go on Facebook and you look on Big Shanty Bassmasters, look on their page, Big Shanty Bassmasters. I know he did post them at one time. Let's see. Let's pull up on Messick right here. It looks like football fields full of bait, and you can see them underneath the bait, but getting them to bite was a different story. Well, you know what, Messick? I will recall Ryan. First time I ever went ditch fishing with Ryan Sheffield. He was the one teaching me about it. We pulled into a creek, and I remember this. He pulled out, he got on the front of the boat, turned out sonar, and he said, "Too much bait." And I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, too much bait." And in my mind, again, learning this, I'm like, okay, bait equals fish, right? If you have bait, you have fish around. He said you actually can go into places that have too much bait and it's too much competition. And it's going to be a lot harder to catch those fish. The striper guys that have been on the show from Carter's Lake always talk about there's too many alewives and herring in Carter's, and it's making catching the fish tougher. You can have that, and it's kind of hard to kind of process it, but you can have too much bait in a given area, according to some of these guys out there. And listen, if I'm sitting at a buffet, if all of us go to Golden Corral or whatever the buffet is these days, and we're sitting there, and we all got our table, and we all got just mounds and mounds of food, and some cat comes in with a Big Mac, and he walks by our table trying to offer us this Big Mac. We ain't biting it. And I know that's a simple way of saying it, but we ain't biting that Big Mac. All right, we listen. We eating them rolls with butter, and one of you guys like the popcorn shrimp, and some of you got the pizza and the whatever. We got everything we want, and we got Lolita bringing us refills on our drinks and everything. We ain't got to move. We ain't eating that Big Mac. That's kind of the way it is when you see too much bait in a given area. Now I know there are guys that can catch it. You pull out the Emils and the Hayden Seabolts and whoever Tony Collum. They can catch fish with all that bait. But for the average guy, it makes it tough. It makes it tough. Tony, I know, spent some time up there. I think he went with Robleski up there in Tennessee. I thought I saw a post on that. We were seeing it in Tennessee on Saturday. All of a sudden, a dang beast of a smallmouth would lift off the bottom. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's it. You just sometimes, and you listen, you guys are going to start catching bass and you pull it up, and is going to be, their belly is going to be like dirt. Now, Danny at Cross Bait Co. All right, guys, listen to this. Listen to this because I've been out, Danny. Sorry. I'll start talking about it again tonight. Let's make that Fish North Georgia promo code a 25% discount for the rest of December. Merry Christmas. Go to Crossbait Co. And check out. He's got the Shock Your Mom. I think it's a Shock Your Mama shad or whatever. You guys would like to go after that. Hey, what was the discount code again, Danny? I've been out of town for a little bit and I'll shout it out. But anyway, let's see. That's Crossbait Co. 25% off just because y'all listen to me. And that's a pretty cool thing for Danny at Crossbait to do. But throw that discount code out there one more time, Danny, on TikTok. You guys, hey, listen, I've checked his site out. Pretty cool stuff. All right, and you know what? Let's go support him. It's Christmas. You guys got money. Buy yourself another Christmas present. As soon as he throws that code back out there, I will tell you that again. Let's see. What happened to the podcast at the shop? Been a long time since you've been around. Uh, no longer in business with my partner. The shop is temporarily closed down right now. So we're doing everything remote. I'm taking over the Fish North Georgia side of things, the socials, the podcast. And now that I've just about got my daughter into the house, I'm going to build out a studio. And so hopefully we will get that, where we can get each other back in. But a lot of people like the remote where they can see everybody's faces at the same time. To each his own. I do know that we will. Okay, Fish North Georgia is the promo code. All right, so capital F Fish, and again, no spaces, guys. Capital F, capital N, capital G. Fish North Georgia, no spaces. 25% off at Crossbait Co. Thank you, Danny, for doing that for our viewers. Guys, go check it out. Save you some money. It's Christmas. But that's what's happened. And maybe one day we'll have another studio and we'll get that back. A lot of you guys, hey, listen, if everybody that listens will send me $1,000, we'll build one. Right? We'll build one. We'll build two, one on the Allatoona side and one on the Lanier side. We'll just go back and forth. What do you guys think about that? All right. So, have I ever watched Money Bass live stream from Lanier? A time or two. He seems like a pretty good fella. I don't watch a lot of his stuff, but he seems like a pretty good fella. All right, Tony. Oh, changing the subject. I'm trying to slow down on tobacco, so I got the 6 milligram Zen, went right to the double, and instantly regretted it. Like, let's see here. Hold on a second. Oh, it's under my TikTok camera. So I've been doing Copenhagen so long. I do the 9 milligram zones, but I do 2 at a time. I have to. I know it's an addiction. It's terrible, but I do 2 at a time on the zones. Don't even phase me. So I don't know. Maybe that's saying I need to stop. Angry chiropractor. That's a hell of a name right there. I like it though. I'm south of West Point, and the best thing I found for fish on the bottom in the winter is like a micro jig, like the Kitech spin jig, and the Berkeley little trooper, just dead sticking it. Interesting you say that because some of the guests the week before, they talked about dead sticking. Dead sticking seems to be a hot saying here lately. But yeah, so I'm very curious because I lived in LaGrange for a short time in my youth, and when I say short time, we're talking first grade, part of second grade. My only memory of West Point was my dad and them used to catch crappie like crazy down there. Now we're talking late 70s, early 80s, right about that time period. So I'm sure it's changed. But I'm very curious if you guys down there get the ditch bite on a lake like West Point that we do up here on Lanier and Chatoog and all that. Very interesting. I know you got the same fish we got. I know you got the spots and the largemouth. And maybe they don't act too differently, but there you go. There's some juice from down south a little bit. Micro jigs like the Kitech spin jig and the Berkeley Little Trooper, just dead sticking it. And listen, the name Angry Chiropractor kind of scares me a little bit, right? Because I mean, I've gone to the chiropractor. My son's wife, her stepfather is a chiropractor up here, and I've let him work on my neck a little bit. And great guy, very strong Christian man. He actually, before he adjusts your neck, he says a little prayer under his breath. And I told him, I said, listen, I'm a believer too, but that spooks me, dude, that you got your hand on my neck. And I told my son when I was going, I said, don't you ever do anything wrong to that girl. And he's like, oh, I'm not going. I said, no, listen, it affects a lot of things. But I don't want no chiropractor doing a little accidental adjustment on me because you made somebody mad. But anyway, Angry Chiropractor. That's a great name. Um, so Tony said, Doug tried to do that and he can't do it. And he goes, I like my dip, just giving it a break. Listen, don't be a quitter, Tony. Don't be a quitter. Messick says, that's an interesting point. I didn't even think about so much bait being a factor. I didn't even what you did bait equals kind of like that. I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean you can have too much bait. Think about that. And I know I'm behind on the comments. I got to get back into comment mode. So Farmer says one of my favorite ditch baits is a 3/8 ounce to 1/2 ounce ditch digger with a Cast Prodigy or Kitech. It's just a football head and a swim bait. It is those that I pour. I don't think I have anything right here. I'm actually getting ready to do some pouring this week. I'm way behind on some orders, and I'm going to pour a bunch of those ditch diggers. But it is, and that football head, guys, as that football head's coming across the bottom, it being a football head shape, it's just giving that. Now I don't know if you can see it on the camera. It's just kind of giving that little wobble. Okay, little wobble is just bouncing off rocks and everything. Those fish will come up and listen. Here's another thing too. If you're reeling it real slow and you feel a bite, do not stop. If you're doing this, now we're not talking about what Angry Chiropractor's doing by dead sticking it, but if you're throwing one of these or even an underspin or something like that, and this is just from my experience, you don't stop because they'll swipe at it and they'll pop it 2 or 3 times before they actually get it. But that is as long as you continually to reel and at a slow pace, they'll hook themselves if you've got the right rod and everything. And then you can lay into them a little bit extra. But I don't know how many times I've watched guys doing it. They get a bite and they stop. And they're like, oh, he had it. And well, listen, they're chasing it. And I don't know, just with that bait, I don't see them coming back and getting it that often. Just me. Tony caught his first smallmouth on a Sakamata shad Saturday. Man, them things sure are soft. And they are soft. John says the Okmulgee PFA has a ton of bait like that in the Hawkinsville, Georgia area. Yeah, absolutely. Now, War Eagle never one to throw his opinion around. The studio was way better, different atmosphere. Right now, it looks like a corporate Zoom meeting. Listen, I get it, War Eagle. It is what it is. But I tell you what, if you start sending me some checks, I'll build it out. All right, I will build it out for sure. I enjoyed getting together with the guys, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And I do like the atmosphere when I'm interviewing of looking somebody straight in the face. But have you priced out, like in a strip mall or anything, like just what the rent is on some of these places? You guys don't send me enough money to afford $3,000 a month rent and all that. But maybe one day you will. Maybe one day you will. But I do listen, War Eagle, in all seriousness, I do agree with you. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Being able to see the guys and then have people stand behind us and us shooting the shit an hour before the show, an hour after. 100. And the goal is to get back there for sure. We just got, hey, listen, we got to do what we got to do right now. Let's see here. Danny, I need to send you something for Christmas. Reach out after the show with a shipping address. Messick, I will do that. In fact, if any of you guys want to send me anything for Christmas, I will gladly give you all my address right there. John G says, Tony, Some 8-inch Sakamata shad were in the bait package I won from Greg Blanchard. I don't even know how to fish those. Now, I'm going to tell you this, John G., you're probably going to fish your Sakamata down there differently to a point than we will up here for sure. And then Tony says, this is how we fished it. 1/4 ounce tungsten ball head jig, minnow shaking. Now, you're doing a lot of river fishing. So I don't know that you're going to be shaking that minnow in a similar fashion. He got him some 5/0 hooks. Now, Ron Bond, here we go. Let's get to you. Dead stick in the shaky head at the Toys for Tots. We had 5 in the boat by 8:30, just no size. Yeah, for sure. And who the heck was talking about dead sticking? I cannot remember. It was it Seth Fighter talking about dead sticking a a Cinco on a wacky or something under a dock? I can't remember if it was Seth or not. Somebody was talking about that. I was moving mine very slow. And I will end up telling you this too. Tim and I caught the majority of our fish on bluff style rock walls that had a sharp drop off in the river channel, but that had wood, that had a blowdown, something of some sort of structure right there. We got bit on that structure. Now, don't get me wrong, we caught some in a ditch and here and there, but the majority of our good bites, and I say good, that's a relative term because, again, we're the king of the 2.5-pound spotted bass. But some of our better bites came throwing on a blowdown on a steep bluff wall, a lot of rock, but that had some wood on it, if I remember correctly. And again, we didn't go 2 miles from Laurel Park, tops. We stayed up that way. Some of the ramps were closed for the deer hunt. Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna put in for that hunt next year too. You got to be drawn for that. Um, Tony, he says that the big ones, the 8-inch Sakamatas, are too big for a jig head. What do you think? I think you might can get a weighted belly hook with a screw lock on the end. You almost could probably fish those uh, even weightless in a river. Maybe, perhaps. Farmer's talking about that ditch bite on the football head. Wait till it loads to pull into them. All right, here we go. Angry chiropractor. Here he goes. He goes, I'm in a kayak with no electronics, so I don't target ditches too much. Mostly upper reaches or creeks where I can catch shoal bass too. Oh my Lord, you lucky dog. Caught my first Chattahoochee bass last year on a little trooper. That is awesome. That is absolutely awesome. I've not caught a shoal bass or a Chattahoochee bass. It is on the 2026 bingo card. That's what I want to do. But I get it. I got a kayak with no electronics, so I might need to join you one of these days and let you show me how to do that. Can you work a Sakamata shad like a fluke? I don't think, I mean, I guess you can, but I don't think you're going to get the movement. You know what I'm talking about? I don't think you're going to get quite the movement. I mean, you can work anything like a fluke. You can do it with a trick worm and anything, but I really honestly think you'll lack that side to side movement. I could be wrong though, because I've never done that. I'm just sitting here trying to think. Now, Danny at Crossbait. Now, listen to this, because I told you he's got the Sakyo Mama shad. All right. Listen to this. And again, 25% off if you type fish North Georgia. Try the Sakyo Mama shad, $8.99, 25% off of that. Same texture with salt. Same texture with salt. Danny, if you'll send me a pack of those, I will hold them up. I'll show everybody. See, look at Danny trying to get some free stuff. I'll show everybody that. But that's pretty cool. Listen, $8.99 plus 25% off, or is that 20? Let's see. Minus 25% off. Same texture with salt. You guys go try it. Try it. Let us know. I think you'll like it. Farmer says dead sticking a jig is a great way to get bites when it's tough. Normally, your smaller jigs like a little spotty or the Kitech. This is when I like to pair the jig with a Ned rig worm. We've talked about that quite a few times on the show. Okay, we've talked about that quite a few times. You know, Tim's got the Tim believes it's, when they bite it, they pull the pinchers off of it. It's just not as, not as intimidating to a bass. I think the Ned rig kind of gives it a little bit of a lift if you use the right thing. Oh, also too, free shipping over $50. Free shipping over $50 at Cross Bait Co, guys. Um, but interesting. It's interesting. You can try that. A lot of guys do that. Let's see. Okay, so this is Danny Purdue. Hello, been away for a while. Would like to thank everyone that came out to the Toys for Tots. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I want to make next year's bigger. It was a great time. You guys ran a good. I think the way in and everything, without the trailer and all that, I think everything went smoother this year. Just my opinion, but I think it did. And that guy that did the raffle at the end, he was amazing. Good looking guy. I forget his name. Kind of short, you know, just a good looking guy, great voice that did that raffle. He really rocked it. Dual Threat Team Trail going to have a $250,000 championship. Yeah, and listen, we talked about that a little bit before I went out of town. Um, some good teams in that thing. I haven't seen a complete roster yet. Don't even know if they got a complete roster yet. But that seems to be pretty cool. As I start watching more and more pro stuff, I think that's one I could watch. I think that's one I could watch for sure. $250,000 is that's a nice chunk of change for sure. And Messick's got on his mind now, John G. He's thinking about the Sakamata shad, and I guess Amazon just showed up at the house. I hear the dog's going crazy. We'll let him just sit in there and bark. Yeah, that guy that did that raffle was a showstopper for sure. I listen. Whoever Carl is out there, thanks for the order, Carl. I will hook you up with some samples too. There you go. That is awesome, guys. Farmer says, I hate I wasn't able to fish the Toys for Tots. Listen, I get it. Last 2 years due to my kids' stuff. There's always next year. 100%. 100%. And listen, that's more important. Your kids are more important in that tournament. Your family, you always do family first. We will not hold it against you at all. And there is old Bartlett. Old Cletus has joined the chat right there. What's up? Again, Cletus, I said it earlier. Thank you for filling in for me last week. You guys did an excellent job. And tonight's going to be a good one. We're talking about the ditch bite. We're talking about dead sticking. We're talking about doing all these things. Listen, Will Harkins is going to be on tonight. Oh, Tony, that was me, Danny. And Danny. All right, you guys are ordering stuff. There you go. But anyway, Will Harkins is going to be on tonight. Listen, he can fish with or without the scope. But the kid is really, really, really good at our North Georgia Highland Reservoir lakes. All right. Grew up in Blairsville. He's fished them all. He knows it. So tonight would be really good if you guys join us. If you guys join us at 8, and let's pick his brain. Now we'll talk to him. And I think Patricia, you'll love this because you're all about the pro stuff. I know you love that stuff. So we can pick his brains as to why he's leaving the NPFL and going to the MLF pro circuit. We can pick his brain. But the juice of the show is going to be, okay, Will, how the hell do we catch these fish when they're on the bottom, when they're being stubborn, when it is so cold? He is really, really good with that. Yeah, and listen, Bartlett, I know you're missing tonight because you got to go to a play. Clint's so in love, he's got to go to a play tonight with his gal to watch one of their friends. And I hope your gal ain't watching this night and I'm getting you in trouble. Because listen, if the gal's watching, Clint is absolutely excited to go. He is raring and rocking to go watch that play tonight. Now, his friends, on the other hand, i.e. me, are going to give him hell. What are you going to watch? You going to watch the Nutcracker or something like that? Is it a Christmas play? Is it ballet? I can remember, luckily, my daughters didn't do too much dance, but when my oldest was about, I don't know, 12, she did this with one of her friends. She did this dance class over in Gainesville. And for 4 or 5 weeks, they had to go over there and they learned this thing. And then all of a sudden, they had this show on a Saturday that we got to go watch, right? The program. And so I'm taking my son, and I think Trey was probably about, I don't know, He was old enough to know better, maybe 7, 8 years old. And we're sitting there, and the show starts with the teacher. And it's this guy he's teaching. He comes out in a pair of tights. You know, the guys, they dress like ballet. He got a squirrel between his legs. And my son just looks at me, and I'm not even going to tell you what he said, but it was the first time my son cussed in front of me or said anything absolutely inappropriate in his life. And I just looked at him and went, "Yep." Never forget it. Pink tights. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Um, but yeah, luckily I did not have to do anything like that. Uh, Ghost MTG had the boat ready for everything to go for the Toys for Tots when the wife came in from work Friday night and said she couldn't do it, so we didn't make it. Hate it, but maybe we'll get to it next year, buddy. Hey, listen, come on out next year. We totally understand. Um, War Eagle said he found this is the Toys for Tots. Found the top 10 results. Every top 10 bag was over 20 pounds. I'm telling you, War Eagle, I saw them. It was impressive. Guys just bringing them in, and it was just kind of like, good night. There was some majorly good looking fish being weighed in. Those spotted bass are just fat. So he's going to see The Wizard of Oz with my girl. I am so excited. Yes, sir, you are. I bet you are. Farmer says, I walked out of the house yesterday to check on the boat and found gear oil going down both sides of the lower unit. I think I have a shaft seal going bad. That sucks. That absolutely sucks. But hey, get it fixed now, right? The MLF Pro Circuit, Patricia said, is paying 50th place $10,000. Am I reading that correctly? 50th place gets $10,000. I have to look into that. What's up, going fishing with Ed? Uh, and Tony says, and I'm telling you, I had no idea we broke 18 pounds until they hit the scales. You sandbagger, you knew you had it. Don't you sandbag us, Tony. Somebody, I think it was Spencer Hewerton on the Monday morning brag board, said his scale said 4, 7 something, but the barn scale said 5 something. He'll take the barn scales every day. But y'all had an impressive bag too. Let's see. War Eagle the best. If it continues like that, I will have to rig up a pulley system to lift the bags onto the scales. I'm telling you, it was it was very impressive. Now Nathan said, reminds me of Ace Ventura Pet Detective, the bulge. Exactly. And listen, Trey honestly was like 7 or 8. And again, I'm not going to repeat what he said, but I would just say this: it would get him sent to the principal's office, probably some what is that training you have to get? Not harassment, but just sensitivity training. There was a lot of stuff coming out of that boy's mouth, and I didn't want to be there anyway. I love my daughters, but I didn't want to be there. He didn't want to be there, but I just remember him going, "Dad," and I looked over at him, and he laid it out there. It's almost like the kid in the Christmas Story when he drops the lug nuts. But he just went on this 60-second, I can't believe what I'm seeing thing. And I was like, yeah, yeah, I know, buddy. I know. I told his mama later on, his mama didn't like what he said. Um, yeah, sandbag Tony. Steven Sturgeon. What's up, buddy? Good to see you back for the lunch break. Yeah, we'll be back in regular schedule now. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. It messes me up. Like, honestly, guys, like last week when I was out there having a great time at the show and all that, but when it would come time, I was like, I know I'm supposed to be doing something and I'm not getting to do it. And here's another thing, and I don't travel near enough. I get up every morning about 5:30 here. Don't know why. It's just my body is wired to wake up at 5:30. When I was out at Salt Lake City, I woke up at 3:30 every single morning. Every morning. Because again, that's 5:30 at home. And I didn't know what to do with myself. The continental breakfast didn't start till 6 o'clock. There is nothing on TV other than Sports Center. And so it was just like, it was miserable. It was absolutely miserable, that aspect of it. But then, of course, again, 8:30, 9 o'clock their time, I'm crashing. I'm ready to go to bed. So anyway, but yeah, tonight, back on tonight, I think tonight you guys need to bring the questions for Will. I know that the guys I talked to Sunday when they fished the Lanier in their club tournament said they caught fish. They didn't catch any big ones, and they're a team that's, I don't say middle of the road, upper third of their club, and they had a tough time. Um, let's see what Gone Fishing with Ed says right there. I always tell the guys I only caught one. When I do actually uh, only catch one, they never believe me. I get what they got a conversation going on TikTok and everything. So Tony's talking about he did have a 6 pound largemouth in there. Uh, I wish I was that good. I guess the 6 largemouth, but the others I had no idea. Spots will throw you off, right? Spotted bass will throw you off. And that's why I always laugh at kayak guys when they talk about going on Lanier. When they're doing an online tournament and they go to any lake or whatever, they go to Lanier, and I'm like, yeah, you're going to catch 4 pound spots. They're going to be 16 inches long, 17 inches long. They're just short, fat, just absolutely a football. But, they like it. You can catch some fish. You can catch some fish. So let's see. Yeah, we're almost at an hour. I need to come over there and fish. Pickwick is whipping my ass lately. Why, Jeff? Why is Pickwick giving you problems? Tony, I know, Tony, you went up to Chick because I saw the nuclear power plant in your video. How was the fishing up there? But Tony says, I do like sandbagging. It's kind of nice to be surprised. We started back to the rant with 30 minutes to spare because I thought he had a chance at big fish. And that's the Toys for Tots tournament he's talking about. But I know that when we fished on Chick, it was more in the fall of the year. We caught some good fish, different than a lot of guys were expecting to catch it. I'm telling you, I don't know if it's changed, but you go up, everybody told me, and it rang true. You go up to Chickamauga, if you throw a morning dawn worm, any way you like to throw it, you can catch fish. He said Chick was slow, slow, slow. And I bet it is. What's up, Tracy Coker? I caught fish Saturday, but nothing over 3.5 pounds until after 11:30. The wind finally picked up, and so did the bite. And welcome back. I appreciate it. John G, here we go. Let's see. I'm leaving Academy. Just got a Buka Rat for $11. They're on clearance, guys. So, guys, if you want a Buka Rat for $11, go to Academy. Tony, what was the water temp? They went to Tellico and got nothing, and they left chicken. And what was the water temp, Tony? I'm curious to see if it warms up like Monticello does. So, Tony, if you remember what the water temp was over there, let us know. Ghost said it took 16 pounds to get first and second place on a club tournament on Lake Burton Saturday. I don't fish Burton enough. I wouldn't know I know it's got some monster fish. It's got monster bass, largemouth, and spots. And Messick, Tony doesn't have a clue on the water temp up there. Is that good? Is 16 pounds good on Burton this time of year? I would think that would seem to be a little low. I haven't fished in like 2 months. I might have forgotten how to fish. Gone fishing with Ed. Buddy, I know exactly what you're talking about. So, all right. With that, since I've got to do a little double duty, again, you guys listen, 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Check out the Deck Talk podcast. I'll be on it. Again, it's crazy because he gets all these pros and everything, and then here comes little old me. So I have no idea what in the world we're going to talk about, but I'm sure it's going to be fun. But I'll be doing that for an hour and a half, so whatever. And then we will jump right into the Livewell here with Will Harkins. And so you guys, listen, if you ain't got nothing to do, 6 o'clock, watch me terrorize the guys on the Deck Talk podcast. And then if you can't do that, join us at 8 and let's really pick Will's brain, see if we can help you guys get over these fish that aren't showing themselves on the bottom or anything like that. But I'm going to go so I can get some more work done before I do 4 straight hours or whatever it is of talk, which I am totally capable of doing. But it'll wear you out. It will. You guys have no idea. So anyway, with that, there's Purrs. Alex, I was getting ready to get off, but let me go ahead and tell you why everybody's here. You did an excellent job last night on the kayak show. I've had a lot of good feedback, and that you were coming into your own as a host. And it's not easy. It's not easy, but Alex, you were growing into it and you're doing a good job. I had some guys text me during the show. I was not able to watch. I was doing other things. but they were like, "You're doing a good job," and so that is good to know that you guys. Um, Messick, hey, you can watch it tomorrow, buddy, or when you get to work. So anyway, with that, guys, listen, I hope, yeah, it's cold as hell outside. I hope you guys have a warm evening. And like I said, come see me on the Deck Talk podcast. If not, come at 8 o'clock on YouTube. No Facebook for you guys that are watching on Facebook. It'll be on TikTok or it will be on YouTube at Fish North Georgia. So with that, I'm gonna go get me something to eat. You guys don't work too hard. Shows tonight. I'll be back tomorrow at lunch, and we will just see what we can get into tomorrow. So you guys be good. I'll talk to you guys. Yeah.